Hello, eco-conscious people. I'm going to start doing a weekly video blog, I think, of the things that I experienced, the people I talked to and learned, and just thoughts about the movement, the sustainability movement, if you will, and how it affects our group and our institution, our university. And I did one on EcoForum yesterday and put it out there, and that's kind of a special first time. And so this is just the second one, but it's my first weekly one. And I give a lot of presentations to different groups. I'm invited to speak to students and other groups, and I've spoken to everything from elementary schools to architects and as a keynote speaker to different forums. And yesterday I had the privilege of speaking to a group of retired Americans with a group that called OLLI. It's an acronym, stands for Ochsner's Lifelong Learning Institute here at Southern Miss, and headed up by Dr. Susan Bone, who I've known for a long time from Student Affairs. And it was very interesting. I was apprehensive at first. I put on a preacher face for my presentation, and it was I started off with introduction of me and definition of sustainability, and the three pillars of sustainability being economic viability, environmental sensitivity, and social justice. And we talked about peak oil, and we talked about natural resource degradation, and I finished it up with climate weirding. And I think I did a pretty good job of explaining climate change in a way that they could understand it when it comes to beliefs and understanding how we determine what our beliefs are based off of evidence that we get every day, and how people should utilize the same criteria to determine their beliefs as they do everything else, and there shouldn't be any divisions. But what, I talked about the three 800-pound gorillas, but the very last part of it was culture. I started talking about culture and how our national culture has changed, specifically since their birth. These people were actually born during World War II. They were typically the young children of servicemen and women fighting World War II, so they're not baby boomers. A little bit older than baby boomers. And they really grasped onto that. They really understood what I was saying when I talked about culture, because they came from a time of doing more with less, of having less, but being very, very happy. When we talked about affluenza, and talked about the size of the American home being 750 square feet during their childhood, compared to the 2,300 square feet the average home is in America now, and the fact that we were happier as a people then than we are now, and that we have these consumer habits and this hyper consumerism, and we're told every day that to be happy you have to buy. And I think one of the things that I say in my speech is we've become a country of life, liberty, and the pursuit of stuff, as opposed to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think this generation understands that your happiness is derived from somewhere other than the things that you own. And then as I went to go sit down and meet with another student, a CSP student. Mary Moore is one of our practicum students, and I went to one of my special places, and I'm thinking and reading and doing my thing, and I realized that I just talked to a group of Americans that are probably the key to the movement, because they have a certain knowledge that won't be around for long, and they have the opportunity to teach younger generations how to live. In my mind, I wrote down how to live like Mamaw, how to live like my grandmother. They have the opportunity to be able to teach the younger generations how to live properly, how to save money, how to buy the things that you need and not necessarily everything that you want. But one of the questions they asked me was, well, what's it all boil down to? And I said, it all boils down to consumption. It all boils down to the fact that when they were born, there was 3 billion people on the planet, and now there's 7. and that by the time that they die, or by the time that I get to their age, there's going to be at least 10 billion, and they're all consuming much more, typically six times more than they did when they were children. So you have, you know, 4 times as many people, or 3 times as many people now, or twice, it'll be 3 times then, as many people consuming 6 times as much. We're basically using up the world, and in the process destroying it. And the solution is, well, it's twofold really. It's less people and it's consuming less. But we have to be able to teach younger generations how to consume less, and my generation and those behind me have to learn to be satisfied with less. And then the last thing is, my generation and those behind me have to create structures that allow people to be happy with less. Meaning, our governmental structures, our institutional structures, our societal structures have to allow people to say it's okay to have less. You're not less of a person because you don't drive the fanciest car. You're okay as a person if you don't wear the coolest threads, and so on and so forth. We have to create structures to allow people to consume less and find worth in other things. And I know it doesn't sound very profound when I'm saying it now. At the time, it was terribly profound, but I think the most important part is that knowledge exists with a group of people that I fully expected to push me away and say, I don't believe in what you're saying. But they've experienced it, and when I said it, you could see them light up. Hold on. Our lifestyles as children had value, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see. And so from now on, I'm going to make an effort to reach out to this generation of people and see if they can help us in this movement. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Talk to your grandparents. I think you're going to find out that they were very happy, that they did with less, but life didn't suck, and that there's a lot to learn from them. So, thanks. See y'all next week.